So I got to know Phil like around 5 years ago now, and the first thing that we talked about is transformation of cities through big buildings and technology changes. That was the first conversation I had with him, and now, a couple of years later, we're immediately then interested in what is happening when technology and digitalization is coming again to cities in new forms. And so it does not come as a surprise. As soon as we were discussing BIM, we were actually asking ourselves, so what role does planning actually play? We are both spatial planners, so everything we think of has something to do with plans. So the question that I'm addressing first in this presentation is, how does the UK planning system actually engage with planning? So with BIM. And actually, it does not really, it does really take quite a while, 20 seconds. So the answer is quite simple. It actually doesn't really engage with BIM. So the goals of planning and housing, sorry about that. So actually, the planning system doesn't engage with BIM. So there's a medium to low awareness on the regional and local level, but then again, on the development side, there is quite a high awareness. And that is very surprising, because the goals of the Digital Build Britain strategy are very congruent with what we find actually in planning. So there's the idea to develop resilient cities, to find places to build houses in the right places, to do a nice urban designed area, and to develop sustainable transport systems. So if this is so closely related, why doesn't planning a bigger role? And we actually ask, if BIM wants to become mainstream in building and developing smart cities, the planning system has to be part of it. It is the main reason how BIM can be mainstreamed. So if planning has such a significant role, how then can the planning system itself help the rollout of BIM? And the planning process is essentially starting in 2 phases. So you have the first phase, in which there is the plan, preparation, and then the adoption. And in both phases, actually, the planning can help to deliver BIM. So if you see this example of the line for the plan preparation, there is the application phase, there's the consultation phase, and there's a decision to approve or refuse, taking into account the different policies. So in all these processes, different stakeholders are included in the process, and this is where the BIM environment can become quite crucial. And how can we increase then this relationship between planning and BIM? And we argue that the main element that planning is actually going to take up BIM and think about it so that a local planner is going to take up BIM is that a national policy is going to be developed. We've seen this in the example of climate change, for example, or sustainable policies in general. So as soon as it was taken up in the national planning policy framework, then actually local planners started to think of BIM. So we would call for the development of a national policy that includes planning and BIM. And the way to kick this, we argue, is essentially that there are pilot projects which are kind of incentive so that some examples and better ideas for cities can be developed. And this could then later on lead into a planning practice guidance that would help other cities to draw on those examples. And this is then important so that we also later on in study courses can take up this actually and educate newly to become planners on what BIM actually is. So yes, you'll listen to me anyway in a few seconds again. So these are the contacts.